DHB to negotiate to buy a long-term contract for some capacity with Mercy Hospital.
Okay, let's quickly talk about climate change.
Yeah.
Is that happening?
Yeah, I think so. Human-induced climate change. I mean, the evidence is firming up very strongly that it is.
In 2005, you didn't think so. What
No,
was it that
in
tipped the scales?
2005 I said, and this is the problem, eh? Like, you live in a world where other, and I'm not arguing against it, it's politics, right? But the other side will always try and say things that aren't actually correct. In 2003, I think it was, or 4, whatever, the line they quote, I said, Kyoto is a hoax. So they say that means climate change is a hoax. It's bollocks.
So you've always thought climate change was...
Kyoto is a hoax, actually. It's meant to be a global solution to a global problem. And all I'm arguing is if you want the world to tackle climate change, then actually there has to be implications for the big emerging nations. And at the moment, there are none under Kyoto. And in fact, Kyoto, everyone knows it will have to be a new negotiation there. But I've never argued that climate change isn't happening.
Okay, we're almost out of time, but I do just want to ask you about, Labor doesn't seem to have found a strategy for dealing with it yet.
Right.
You know, Don Brash,
I'm sure they will, don't worry.
Do you think this is because you're one of the first National Party leaders who can stump Michael Cullen?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I am what I am. I mean, I'm genuinely a pretty centrist person, and I think that reflects, you know, literally growing up in a state house, but also having a big business career. I mean, I think I feel comfortable, well, I know I feel comfortable in a wide cross-section of the New Zealand community. Secondly, I have a really strong sense of what sort of leader I want to be. People will either vote for it or they won't. It's up to them to decide.
Were you annoyed when he called you a rich prick?
No, not in the slightest. I reckon that reflects on him more than me, which is, don't we want New Zealanders to be successful? I mean, what's Michael Cullen's vision?
But I guess what he's attempting to do is to say that your wealth makes you out of touch with real New Zealanders. Are you out of touch?
Well, I'm way more in touch than he is.
How much is milk?
$2 a litre. Yeah.
Last year...
I was at the supermarket. Look, I mean, go down to Key Street Food Town. You'll see me there on Sunday nights. I mean... You
do the shopping?
Yeah, quite often. I mean, my wife does when I'm not around. But
and the last thing I want to talk about is that I saw your response to the PM Statement of Intent for the coming year's agenda in the House, which is very good. You said that you spend more time in South Auckland and less time in the South Pole. Great line. Do you spend much time in South Auckland? I mean, I know you went to McGinn Close. Have you gone back?
Yeah. No, I've seen Araha and Joan quite a lot. They're actually no Wairaka anyway, but I go to South Auckland. I've been around quite a few of the schools. In fact, I was just reading something about one of the schools today that I hadn't visited, but I've seen quite a few. I've been down there to see the community leaders. We're actually making a bit of a push in South Auckland because I actually think there's a growing level, don't want to overstate it, but there's a growing level of support, particularly from young Pacific Island people who I think look at me and say, yeah, this guy might be onto it a bit and he's going to deliver some quality in schools and better services for us. So I'm actually pretty optimistic I can do good things there.
Okay, well, we'll wrap up, but we'll finish with this. Let's fast forward. The elections just happened. Hooray, you got a very slim majority. But you have to form a party with New Zealand First and the Māori Party. New Zealand First wants Winston to carry on being the Foreign Minister. The Maori Peter wants you to abolish the idea of, to forget the idea of abolishing the Maori seats. Would you do a coalition?
Well, look, I'm not going to kind of go down and prejudge all that stuff, but what I'd say is that...
But you haven't ruled out Winston Peters as Foreign Minister?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, look, in the end, every smaller party will come with their own shopping lists, and you'll have to sit down, or I will have to sit down and negotiate with them on those.
You've been talking to them now?
I don't think Winston. Oh, yeah, a little bit, but just as much. I probably have more contact with Jeanette and with Taliana and Peter Sharples than I necessarily do Winston, simply because it just depends on the circumstances. But I don't have anything against Winston, and I actually think he's done a pretty good job as Foreign Minister. I mean, I think in relation to the Maori seats, I'll just make this one point, which is I personally think there will become a time when those Maori seats should be gone. And I've indicated that's when the historical settlement process is completed. That'll take some time. There's not a short-term thing. But I really do think that in the end, Maori greater, I don't think the Maori seats are delivering the argument around representation of Maori people. And I'll give you one example of that. When there was an issue around what was called shared fisheries, so the implications on the Maori settlement of fishery rights, they didn't go to the Maori MPs. They actually, the people who control those financial assets, the various iwi, came directly to the political parties. There are 20 MPs in Parliament of Maori ethnicity. There are 7 seats. When the chips were really down in 2004, do you think those people who stood in the Maori seats stood up for Maori? Like hell they did. Basically, Tariana Turia left, so good on her for at least standing up for what she believed in, and the rest towed the Labour Party line. So all I'm saying to you is representation comes from a wide group. I personally think all 120 MPs should be engaged, And I reckon over time, as the Royal Commission said in 1986, Maori will be better served actually not having a Maori role. But yeah, I accept that's a process we've got to work through.
Cool. Can you tell me, what do you think is the greatest asset of Helen Clark to finish?
Hard working. Yeah, she works bloody hard. No one's arguing she doesn't. I mean, she works hard.
Colin James says she'll go down in history as one of our greatest Prime Ministers.
Yeah, well, yeah, let's see. I actually think she won't be left with as much of a legacy as people think. Probably Michael Cullen might be with the New Zealand Super Fund a little bit more. But it depends on what you define as legacy. Look, it's, no one's, you know, I don't go around and bash Helen Clark. I always respect her as Prime Minister because I respect anyone that makes as Prime Minister. I just happen to think that I've got some different views. I think I've got a different level of expectation for New Zealand, which is quite frankly set at a higher level. I'm probably prepared to make some harder calls in certain places, but about delivering performance in things like health and education where I reckon we're not well served by what we get. And in the end, New Zealanders will have to decide whether they want to buy into that vision. If they do, they'll elect us. If they don't, they won't. But all I can do is put forward what I believe in, and I'll leave it in their hands.
John Key, thank you very much for being on Let's Be Frank.
Thanks much.
Cheers.